The cultural phenomenon that we now know as Stranger Things was sold under the working title Montauk, and before producers switched the setting to a small town in Indiana. The eerie action of Season 1 was going to take place way out at the eastern end of Long Island. But the thread looped through the 8 Stranger Things episodes. The idea that contact between Eleven and the Demogorgon may have opened the portal to the Upside Down has roots in an incident that researchers believe occurred in Montauk in 1983, and ended secret experiments that the U.S. military had been conducting on children for 4 decades. The real-life inspiration for Stranger Things is a secret base in Montauk. Netflix's hit sci-fi series was originally titled Project Montauk after the covert government operation on Long Island that allegedly used child runaways as human test subjects. Mind control and time travel were just 2 of the experiments rumored to have been done under the Montauk Project umbrella. After World War II, the United States recruited Nazi scientists and used them for a variety of things, to develop weaponry and technology. According to people allegedly involved in the Montauk Project, those same scientists went on to Camp Hero in Montauk, New York, to conduct frightening and illegal experiments. As far as government cover-ups go, the Montauk Project may be one of the most well-guarded secret government projects that ever existed. The Montauk experiment is basically the Area 51 of New England, and stories about the project's time travel experiments, use of alien technology, and research into telekinesis have managed to both enthrall and terrify researchers since the government shut down the experiments in the early 80s. The Montauk Project's U.S. government time travel research program intersects with multiple secret government programs, including the Philadelphia experiment, where an entire battleship was said to have disappeared from the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard in 1943. The crew members suffered the havoc of teleportation. Some presented epileptic seizures, schizophrenic episodes, while others fused with the ship. And even some disappeared and are thought to be in another multiverse or dimension. The luckiest ones only presented minor wounds and confusion that healed with the passing of time. It's said that all information regarding the experiment became top secret under death penalty. They were successful in government cover-ups that involve time travel, teleportation, and the physical manifestation of monsters from inside our very own brains. These are government research papers on the torus of time. This is very similar to an image of a very large machine found on Earth's moon. The government chose the tiny town of Montauk, New York, to keep its secrets. Montauk isn't even a town. It's technically a hamlet, which is a community that's smaller than a village, or that doesn't have a church. It's the perfect place for Camp Hero, which would house a secret military installation which would delve into time travel, teleportation, psychic warfare, and object creation research. The most recognizable piece of the 278-acre site is the Sage Radar Tower, a 120-foot, 70-ton dish which has fallen into disrepair. The dish was believed to transmit radio signals in the 425 to 450 MHz range in order to penetrate human consciousness, making a person susceptible to mind control. The Phoenix 2 scientists realized that by changing the rate and width of the pulse, they could alter the way people felt. They experimented with making people laugh, cry, get angry, and grow sleepy. Aside from the Sage dish, one of the most important pieces of technology in the Montauk Project was the Montauk Chair. an interface device that was used to boost a test subject's psychic energy in order to help them perform a variety of tasks. No one knows or remembers where the chair's technology came from, although it's most likely that most, if not all, of the chair's parts come from extraterrestrial technology. But a problem began to occur with psychics transmitting a false reality, which created something called time glitches. These glitches were bad enough that they were cause for the construction of the second chair, which would be used throughout the rest of the Montauk project's existence. The most accomplished member of Montauk's team of psychic researchers, Duncan Cameron, began to work on creating solid objects via telekinesis thanks to the increase in psychic energy from the Montauk Chair.
Some of the research a number of people have been involved in came to something called the Montauk Chair. It was this off-planet technology that had sensors all over the body. It was detecting the biofields. Part of some of the research went into anyone with a bit of training could connect up to this esoteric, this hardware was huge psychoactive hardware that could outrun the speed of light. Everyone here, our consciousness in a level of awareness can outrun any computer, anywhere, anytime. That's how incredibly connected we are. We get used to familiarity in this physical dimension. Recently I had awakening and I saw a lifespan of a person within 2.7 something seconds. And I started doing the math on this, like, holy mackerel, or if indeed that's a small slice, X amount of people. Is that how slowed down we are, and we get used to that?
So you're saying we're already, in a sense, beyond disclosure. We already are equal, in a sense, to these ET consciousnesses. It's just like this mass collective that has to catch up with who we think we are.
Sure, good,
okay.
Good job.
Thank
you for helping me in my time of need.
After the success of the spontaneous object creation project, it was discovered that a side effect of the tests was that the flow of time was altered when objects that were being materialized appeared earlier or later than they were meant to. This caused Montauk to enter a third phase of research. It was found that by focusing their psychic energy, guys like Duncan Cameron could open what was referred to as a time tunnel. As you can imagine, initial versions of the time tunnels were not structurally sound, and rather than send government researchers to certain doom, they allegedly began to kidnap large numbers of homeless people to use as test subjects. It's believed that most of the test subjects never returned. The project was halted in 1982 when Duncan unleashed a monster through the machine again, much like 11 does. He let loose a monster from his subconscious. And the transmitter actually portrayed a hairy monster. It was big, hairy, and nasty. It showed up somewhere on the base. It would eat everything it could find. And it smashed everything in sight. Even though this project location has been halted for some time now, there has still been cases where mysterious monster-like animals are being washed ashore in Montauk. Many of locals believe these creatures are directly related to the Montauk project.